Get connected, Fitchburg. We're launching Fitchburg Connect, the city's new monthly e-newsletter that keeps you informed about all the events, services, and updates that matter to you. Get it in your inbox once a month. Our first edition is live now. Sign up today to get Fitchburg Connect.
Hi, I'm Jeremy Crosby.
And I'm Nick Boucher. We're your hosts for the program that's all about your city, Talking Fitchburg.
Every weekday, we pull together the news, events, and information you need to stay on top of what's happening in the city of Fitchburg.
Find Talking Fitchburg on cable TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and our live stream on the web. Plus, you can find all our headlines and stories on Facebook, YouTube, and our video on demand service. This is your city.
Keep up with Talking Fitchburg and the issues affecting you and your neighbors.
Call to order this meeting of Fitchburg Board of Public Works for Monday, March 23rd, held here in the Francis Huntley Cooper Council Chambers. Attending tonight, we have Don Gutowski, member Alder Bill Jetzer, myself, and member Dave Wilborn. Public appearances for non-agenda items, we do not have any tonight. I'll just add that we also have former city engineer Paul Woodard online here tonight, so we are privileged for that. Next, we move to 3A, approval of minutes. I'll entertain a motion to approve the March 2nd meeting minutes.
I so move we approve the March 2nd meetings.
Second. The second, I was not here, so I can't confirm or deny their accuracy. I will rely on the rest of you. Is there anything you saw changes? Okay.
No changes.
All right, you didn't request that I go to the bar to get Wi-Fi, so I didn't, in Canada, so I didn't attend. Okay. Then I'll call the motion. All in favor of approving the minutes from March 2nd, Board of Public Works, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The minutes are approved. Next, we have agenda item 4, report of the Director of Public Works, Mr. Tim Volker, P.E.
Good evening. A couple of follow-up items from our March 2nd, 2026 Board of Public Works meeting. Alder Jetzer, you had asked about the MG&E rates for city buildings, kind of compared to residential electric rate. So a typical residential electric rate is just over 18 cents a kilowatt hour. MG&E rates for the city buildings are closer to about 12 cents per kilowatt hour. And then next up, just a couple of project updates. I'll start with our 2026 street resurfacing project. Bids were opened on March 10th, 2026. 3 bids were received, and Payne and Dolan Incorporated was the low bidder with a bid of $1,393,676.91. The high bid was $1.6 million. So we're looking to award the construction contract to Payne and Dolan, and that would be referred out at tomorrow's council meeting. Okay. So our next Board of Public Works meeting, the agenda item would come forward.
We're out of sequence on that a little bit. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's referred out.
Yeah, it'll be referred out, and
It's in
then
the
back to
consent
Board of
agenda.
Public Works, our first meeting in April, and then looking to award that first council meeting in April.
When awarded, when do you think they would start?
We'd look to have the pre-con in April, and they'd probably start end of May, June.
Okay, thank you.
And then our next up is our 2026 sidewalk replacement project. We're looking to advertise that next month in April. And then also in April, we're looking to advertise our Fitch-Rona Road reconstruction project. And right now, if we advertise at the beginning of April, we'd look to open bids towards the end of April for that project.
On that one, if awarded, would there be any construction this year? Or how would half of it get done? What's your sense?
Yeah, we're looking to phase that project. So phase 1 would start at the north end Nesbitt Road, work south to Quarry Ridge.
Okay.
And then look to complete the Phase 2 project next year.
Okay.
How far along are we going to be by the time
School's
school's over?
Start of construction most likely would be after school.
Thank you. Just wanted to know.
Tim, was that the one we were waiting on right away for the bike? Did that ever get resolved?
Yes, we're still working on the land acquisition. Actually, this past, I believe on Friday, Ross got confirmation that one of the landowners that we haven't heard from, or that they are in agreement with our proposal. There's still another outstanding one, so we're putting this out to bid, hoping to work through that. There might have to push a award off, depending on how those negotiations work. So we'll for sure know come beginning of June whether or not we need to push that off or not. So I'll keep the board posted to how we progress through those negotiations.
And the land we're talking about, is that like on the west side, right at the roundabout?
So that's the property owner that agreed to our proposed amount on Friday. It would be the property owner on the southeast corner of the Lacey Road Fitch-Rona intersection, the Ramaica property.
Yeah, okay.
So is that'll interfere with our multi-use path then?
Right now that the path is coming out because of the condemnation. We can't condemn for a bike path, so we had to take that out and looking to move forward with the condemnation process on that. Doesn't mean we can't put it in the future if the property ownership were to change. And also we could look to route that path kind of around to the south on the east side of it too. Yeah.
But the property on the west side is all taken care of, so we can have the bike ped bypass on that side?
I'll have to check with Ross on what the final agreement was with them on that, and I can report back at the next meeting with that.
Am I correct? We're going to lose those big oak trees?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Anything else, Tim?
That's all I had. Any other questions?
I do have one. As we had the sweeper out, we had a large volume of leaves last year from the late drop. Have we been, we had a warm day Saturday, and we're not going to be out Saturday, but have we been able to get out?
Yeah, Mark's been having both street sweepers out with the temperatures above freezing.
And I'll have one last thing. Maybe Bill has talked to Gabrielle about this. We want to talk at some point. We need to discuss access at the drop-off site. Controlling access there. And whether fobs or I don't know what. I think we need a solution there too. We're getting too much people dumping stuff that doesn't belong there. People from Madison we're paying for dumpsters full of cardboard from people from Madison, and so I think we'd like to think about some way that we can keep it a little more defined for Fitchburg residents. So I know Gabriella mentioned that for possibly a committee of the whole sometime. Okay. All right. Thank you, Tim. Next, let's move
just
to...
for clarity, I thought that's why we had those cameras there, and we're ticketing people for...
That's been removed. Okay.
Okay.
That's been removed. Okay. All right, next we'll move... I'll talk to you more about it after. How's that? I'd rather not get into it here at Board of Public Works, but Next, we have agenda item 5A, Resolution R5826, approving the award for the police services facility audio-visual work. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll move approval of resolution R5826.
Moved by Alder Jetser. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Don. As we recall, originally this came in above the engineer's estimate. We only had one bid. Looked to rebid. We talked to the original bidder, and it looks like we got the state. We're able to get the state price on some of the equipment, and we came down from, instead of 500,000, we're at 398. I forget where that was compared to our initial estimate. I thought it was still high, but okay. I'll let you guys take it away from here.
Do I ask them or want me to jump
Yeah,
in?
why don't you go ahead, Paul?
Sure. So yeah, as you mentioned, we did bid this separately. It was we did not include in the original contract. We were kind of on a time crunch to get the police facility out the bid before the winter months, and this was lagging behind. That's why it was not included in the original contract. As you noted, we did get one bid appearing. They're a reputable company in the area. And we did talk to them afterwards, and we did change out some of the equipment to take advantage of the state bid process. The state, UW state bid process got certain cameras in it or certain monitors, so we were switched out some of the equipment to take advantage of those pricing. Also, they also have labor rates as well through the state bid process. So between those items, we were able to get it down to about $400,000. The original budget for the AV work in the building was $250,000, but there was some additional work added, which FGM's subconsultant estimated the work to be around about $400,000 with that additional work. And primarily it was in the, what was the dispatch room is now kind of referred to as crime scene room. I think the police chief actually had more defined word than that, but so we're around $400,000, which is about what FGM had estimated. So I feel comfortable with the number that we have in front of us tonight and using the state bid process. And I think we have a good contractor to do the work as well.
Yeah, they're a respected vendor. Questions for Paul?
Paul, I think maybe in one of our past ones we were talking about all the video that we use, and maybe it was more the software in the dialogue and discussion. Is our video equipment interchangeable? I mean, can we buy in bulk then and get in a replacement cycle on these things, or is it so unique on each location?
Well, it's somewhat unique to the location, but I think the building's got enough equipment in it that I think it is prudent to put in the capital improvement plan. It probably need to replace in 5 years, definitely probably within 10 years, just because the technology changes so much in these facilities. So I do think it is something to put in the future capital plans. Now, some of it, of course, is not all related to monitors. The wiring obviously doesn't get redone in 10 years, but it'd be just the monitors that you have to put in the capital plan. So again, and I should probably elaborate a little more. AV in this building there's a multi-purpose room similar to the council chambers. Holds about 50 or 60 people seated. And then the briefing room has monitors in it. And then I mentioned the crime scene room. And then some of the offices have monitors as well, so you can track what's going on. And then, of course, in the records area as well. So there's quite a bit of AV throughout this building, a little more, say, your typical office building, but that's just because of the nature of the police work going on in the facility.
Paul, I presume that the IT department here and or FACTv have reviewed this as well. Were there any comments from other departments in the city?
No, we had Jeremy Crosby take a look at the documents, and he actually talked to some other vendors to try to, what we could do to get more vendors and, interested in the project. So Jeremy's reviewed it. IT's not that involved with the camera system, but, we did involve Nick as well in the process. And the police have to have their own maintenance for this equipment once they get established in the building. But, we definitely did involve Jeremy in the discussions and Nick as well, IT.
Paul, I didn't quite catch, what were the additional scope that added? Was it some more rooms that got?
Well, it was one primary room, the crime scene room.
Okay, all right.
And
there's more technical scope for that, but I just don't recall what it is offhand.
Okay.
Does this include the equipment for the real-time camera feeds that the police is looking at?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Includes the monitor, the displays. That's what I'm talking about in terms of again, a crime scene room is not, it's not the best word. It was a dispatch room, but the idea is to have a wall of monitors in there, so that, you know, as they do the real time, they can see what's happening around it with different cameras they can feed into it.
Anything else?
Go
ahead, Bill.
Well, yeah, so you had mentioned that technology moves pretty quickly. Is there any worry that equipment we select today is going to be, you know, kind of obsolete in 2027 when they finally get up and running?
Well, I would not be, well, 2027, probably not, but I mean, it's, even since the time we did this project, the monitor's already changed out. So you're never going to catch it. And I think the wait would be, you know, problematic because we have to be operational once the building's up. Once they move in, we can't, if you wait for that technology, you never get there. So I guess we have to, you know, go with what we got, and they'll have to, you know, use it until then. But this is about as current as you can get. We don't want to delay this anymore because the coordination has to happen between JP Cole and the general contractor and the selected AV contractor to coordinate conduit installation, and, you know, the behind the walls, behind the scenes type of work.
Any other questions? Okay. Thank you for your diligence, you know, digging in and asking the questions and getting a better price. So we appreciate that diligence. I'll call the vote. All in favor of Resolution R 5826, approving award of police services facility audio video work, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have Resolution R 5426, approving purchase of salt for 2026-2027 season. Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve R 5426.
Moved by Don. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Wilborn. We had in our budget $77,600 for salt, I believe, and we'll be going out in the state bid, and this would be salt for the rest of this year and for 2027. Anything else you want to add on that, Tim? Please.
Just that the vendor hasn't been selected yet by
Okay.
the state. Once they do select it, we'll get the contract and have the mayor execute it with the selected vendor.
Okay.
Tim, will you still have a later supplemental one? Or is this for the entire year?
This will be for the remaining 2026, so it'd be the early fill prior to December 1st, 2026, and then it'll be the seasonal fill, which is from December 1st through I think the end of March, and then also you can buy purchase a reserve after that date. So kind of three different times to purchase.
So it gives us time if we have to have heavy use of it and start running low, right?
Yeah, right now we're sitting full. Mark got a shipment in. Then the door broke halfway through them delivering it, so we had to stop. Then once the door gets fixed, they'll fill the remaining. It was about 355 tons he had ordered, and then he put in another order of 480 tons, and that should get us full, which is about 1,000 tons of working capacity.
Any other questions, Bill? You have anything?
So we'll be full like in the next few weeks to up to 1,000 tons. When would we receive the salt on this contract then? Is that going to happen in the late fall?
Well, so this starts late fall to up to December 1st. You can do an early fill. Mm-hmm. So, you know, if we got hit with something in early November again, that we could get that filled up again. Because what happens is the salt contractors, once December 1st hit, a lot of the municipalities wait till January because that's when their new fiscal year. So it's delivery. Mark had put, so that 355 tons he ordered, which he just got, I think, last week or the week prior, which is March. Mark put that in January. So it took almost 2 months. And we were running pretty close due to that. So, we want to keep stocked up just in case it's a month or two out for them to deliver for us.
And so the 480 tons?
Yeah, there's another delivery. We haven't been they don't give us a time frame on when. We just request that we get a 24-hour notice.
Okay, so that has yet to be received.
That has yet to be received,
but
and
it will
then
be
half
received
of
this spring?
Yeah, we'll
Okay.
receive it this spring.
And then anything we order on this contract will likely receive in January?
Or if we order it prior to December 1st, because we got hit hard in November, we could receive it.
But do we ever get into a situation where we don't have the physical room to take the salt that's being delivered?
Yeah, you can, and you have to purchase it. Like I kind of was mentioning before the meeting, the village of Cottage Grove had gotten into that situation. You have to purchase the salt. So when we fill this contract out, we estimate how much we're going to purchase, and we're held to that for the seasonal fill. So if we don't go through what we have, we still need to buy that, but if we don't have the capacity, we're going to have to figure out either store it somewhere or sell it. So like I mentioned, the village of Cottage Grove got into that situation last year, reached out to us, and we had purchased from them cheaper than what the state contract was because they had nowhere to hold it.
It's a little different, but I was at Costco, we were buying water softener salt. And a 50-pound bag was just a little less than $7. And I thought, I would think it cost $7 to ship that 50 pounds from wherever, I'm like, how are they doing it for that price? But back to my initial thought, our residents are they're asking us to reduce our salt as much as we can, and we continue to do that. But you can't just look at the tonnage we use because, we're adding streets. Do you have a metric, are you able to look at salt use versus vehicle lane miles on a given year, or is that a metric you guys have ever thought about tracking?
Yeah, Mark tracks he has the data back. Today on the phone I spoke to him, and we kind of looked back through 2009, and it's variable. There's a lot of
the weather
factors that, basically in the season 2011, 2012, it snowed 32 inches, and the city went through about 1,640 tons of salt. But then back in 23, 24, it snowed 44.75 inches, and we went through 564 tons. So it's, the ice events play a role into it. And, Mark said the electronic controls have been the biggest factor in the reduction of the salt, because that allows, depending on the speed of the vehicle, how much salt it spits out. So if it comes to a stop, it stops throwing out salt. And then as it speeds up, it increases that salt coming out of the truck.
That and our calibration also.
And the scale calibration, exactly.
Yeah, thank you.
But regardless, even if you lower the amount per lane mile, but you increase the lane miles,
we're going to use more salt.
Ultimately, it's the total amount of salt that winds up in the groundwater and the lakes that really matters.
Yeah. All right. Any questions on
Tim,
this?
do you have any correlation with the street sweeping? I'm surprised you're getting residents saying you're putting too much salt on. They probably say be prudent, but if I compare us to Madison, they put a ton of sand down there, and that's just got to plug up the storm drains
right in the lake.
like crazy
Right.
and go right in the lake. Yeah. Do we have a correlation that we could share out there to show, in combining both, we're being very prudent with application?
Yeah, but like I mentioned, Mark keeps track of, what trucks use what salt, and then obviously we have our street sweeping data that, the debris we pick up. So, there is a correlation between the two.
I think we would ask you, always keep an open mind. I think it was Alder Jetzer that might have indicated that was it a beet or there was some other, some Scandinavian country was using something.
Well, I mean,
Something else.
we use beet juice
Yeah,
here as well, right?
Pre-treatment, but there was some Scandinavian country was using some other plant-based thing. I thought you were the one that sent me the link about it. So ask you to keep an open mind, you know.
How much of that liquid stuff we've been spraying on the streets before we get a storm, how much of that have we been going through?
That's all dependent on the storm. So this past season, the beet juice, which is a 80% brine and then 20% beet juice, we went through about 12,000 gallons this past year.
Okay.
And typically we use that when the temperatures are colder, less than 20 degrees. So kind of to start this season, we'll just utilize the brine, which is about 32 cents a gallon, and we purchase that from the county. The beet juice is about $2.65 a gallon.
All I know is if you ride the bike trail that I do along McKee Road in front of a Certco, they are crazy with their salt. I can't even ride my bike down there. I'm getting that's like way over the top, but I guess it gets dry. All right, anything else? I don't mean to get us off track. All right, then we'll call the vote. All in favor of resolution R5426, approving purchase of salt 26-27 season, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next we have 5 Charlie, resolution R5926, approving agreement for professional services for the design and construction administration of the Fitchburg City Hall and Community Center renovation project. Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve R5926.
Moved by Don. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Alder Jetzer. Initial go through, you know, we're looking, when I make the note here that this is somewhere in a, is it $10 to $12 million or that they're looking is what these renovations are going to cost, and the design administration is usually a percentage of that. To the business I work in, it kind of works the same way, whether it's a new building or an existing one, it varies a little. So I'll let Paul take over here.
Sure. So last fall, we hired a Crawley Design LLC, which is primarily Dawn of Crawley. And she was pretty involved with the city when we did the community center expansion back in about 2010, 2012 timeframe. Anyhow, Dawn has been working with us on the schematic design. And the reason we didn't include this work originally with the original RFP last fall was we weren't sure what the scope was going to be until we got through the schematic design and, you know, we knew exactly what the project was going to entail. So now that the schematic design is just about complete, Don will be issuing a report here hopefully the next week or two with a updated cost estimate and some preliminary drawings that we'll be able to share with the council. Actually, I think Adam might have already shared some of that with the council previously. And so the next step to keep this process moving is to hire Dawn for the next phase. Now we know what the scope of work is entitled to. And the percentage that she's requesting is, you know, comparable to what, you know, other firms charge as a percentage of cost. And we did select her through a competitive RFP process last fall. So the idea is to get Dawn working on the next phase of this project, and the idea would be to try to get the plans done by the end of November, which would give staff review time in December of this year. Put the project out bid in January 2027, open bids February 2027, and then award the contract in March of 27, and then start actual construction in April of 2027 for the renovation. And that'd be done obviously after the police have moved out. We're anticipating about a year of construction. So Dawn from probably 646 Design has worked with the city on prior projects and the current project, and we're very pleased with her work, and that's why we recommend awarding a contract to her.
So, Paul, can you kind of give us a high-level overview of the full scope of the project? Like what areas are being renovated and to what extent?
The entire building is being renovated from top to bottom. So starting in the basement level, there's a existing fitness area that'll be expanded out because we're going to be reutilizing the locker room facilities from the police department. So we'll get rid of the locker room facilities that are down there now for the exercise facility. The police evidence processing room will be converted into storage for the clerk's department to put all her voting machines in and her equipment in. So instead of being tucked away in the conference rooms on the second floor, she'll have her own dedicated space downstairs. Then on the first floor where the police currently are, we're going to relocate the break room to the first floor. FACTv will be on the first floor as well with a new studio, and IT will have expanded workspace in the first floor where PD currently is. And then we'll still maintain the existing storage area for the rec department. I think it's the east end hallway. And on the second floor, which is the main floor of the building, we're adding some more conference spaces, we're expanding the Genie ceiling room. Obviously, taking FACT out, we're going to put another meeting room in there. And then all the offices will come out on the first floor, or excuse me, the second floor. And we're going to more of an open concept with offices for the supervisors and more in the middle of the workspace. And then on the third floor, again, all offices will come out along the perimeter and be relocated to the center. And that will allow more natural lighting to come in for workspaces up there. Another big change in the building is currently the building is pretty wide open for the public. And the public will have access only to the second floor from the main community, by the community center entrance, or, that side of the stairwell. So, for example, on the first floor right now, you have public has access to go into the PD department, and then up the staircase now we staff only. So, and there'll be no public access to the third floor as well either. So the idea is to make this a more secure building for staff, given just the current situation is needed for these public buildings, more security. And then there'll be some changes to the community center as well, rearranging some of the senior center offices around, gaining them a little more space down there in terms of their hallway space, and changing the entry to the community center. So that's kind of a real high level.
Are they going to kind of do a floor at a time on that, Paul? Do you know how it's going to be set up for the remodel?
Well, we haven't that'll be decided during the contract documents, but I think our initial thinking is, definitely once the police move out, the basement first floor will be wide open. That's basically where the PD and the basement's really just kind of a combination of PD and other spaces in the building. So yes, we'd probably do the basement first floor first, relocate potentially to say the third floor temporarily down to the first floor in some of the spaces, so we can do the third floor and then maybe do second floor last. Again, that's not 100% defined, but that's kind of the initial concept. And there will be a time period where we're working on the second floor that we're going to have to probably utilize some of the space in the community center temporarily, especially for the council meetings, and so forth. About 2 or 3 month time period, just while we do the work on the second floor, which is the main floor of the building. But yes, to answer your question,
right,
we're anticipating initially a floor at a time, just so we get some place to shift employees around.
Paul, the contract itself with the firm, we're just signing a contract, for them to provide these services. I'm going to give you an example here. So I know a firm that does substation design, and they get a portion. Basically, their fees are based on the kind of the design that gets approved, a portion of that. So that particular firm, I've seen, they've kind of, I call it gold plating, but they did stuff that they put in copper conductor instead of aluminum, and foolish things like that you don't need to, but I think that to get their billing up. Do we have that issue here?
No, because we've set a not to exceed fee. So this is based off our initial estimates. So, if they decide if Dawn decides to, overdo the design, that's going to be, her expense in terms of, the design effort.
Okay.
So,
all right.
we're not using a percent of that final construction cost. This is a percentage of the estimated construction cost, which I've reviewed an agreement with.
Okay, thank you.
Well, and did I don't know if I read this incorrectly, but I took it to mean here's what the expected fees are going to be, and given that this is the projected total cost, this is what the percentage works out to, rather than she's taking a fixed percentage of whatever the construction cost is.
That's where I was I had the same.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
And we do that for a reason, to avoid the problem that Dave's talking about.
3 years? 2 years? Whatever. What do you guys
For
have?
construction?
What do you guys are thinking for complete? I'm thinking 3 years.
Oh, no.
Police station
no,
won't
for
be
the
ready
design.
till 2027 before you can even, can't do anything till they
Well,
move
the
out,
police
right?
depart- Right, the police are supposed to be able to move in by no later than mid-April. So the idea is that we'd start, City Hall as soon as they move out, or, probably was just say May 1st, give us a few weeks, cushion. So we'd start this project May 1st of 2027, and we're anticipating 12 months, construction.
Oh, okay. All right. I like that. That's good. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Anything else?
When we rehab like a park facility and stuff, it's kind of, the goal is not only to rehabilitate it, but then we get rental out of it. It's my understanding, trying to make this secure, we're not going to be able to have community groups rent out space here if they need it. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, I'm not aware of any community groups currently renting out City Hall during the week. Are you, Tim?
Community center, they do.
The community
Okay.
center, but not the actual city hall, we
Not City
don't.
Hall, no.
Okay. I didn't know if there's a
And-
big
and
demand
that-
for
I mean,
facility space, but
Yeah, community centers will be rentable, but not City Hall.
okay.
So I would add, when we were first spitballing, that we would build a police facility and they'd move out, and, we were spitballing 5 or 6 million. And, we see it's quite a bit higher than that. Fortunately, our police facility came in lower, so that offsets the higher cost for the city hall.
It was my impression, though, that initial 5 million
Was
spitball
inadequate.
estimate was much more targeted than what we're doing now. It seemed
You are
like
right, you're right.
it was,
It was
just renovating the space
Bottom
where the
floor.
police are right now, and everything else would stay the same. But this is like a full renovation of the entire building, plus slopping over to the neighbor.
What year was this building built? 90?
98?
98?
We moved in 99. We moved in February 99.
Okay. No, we're
I was
27.
there.
27 years, most people do some upgrade in their home in 27 years. I don't feel we're being overly, I think it's time to do it. I think it's time to do it. Yeah. And
Yeah,
open
the carpet's-
concept
The
and
original
things.
carpet's 27 years old.
I'd be able to make it a better place for our employees to work too. Anything else on this? It's kind of a big one, so good discussion. All right, I'll call the vote. All in favor of resolution R5926, approving an agreement for professional services for design, construction, administration, Fitchburg Hall and Community Center renovations, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion carries. Thank you, Paul. Good seeing you.
Thanks.
Yep.
Good night.
Take care, Paul.
Right. Next, we have resolution R5726, conditionally approving a holding tank permit for 2695 South Sain Road. Do we have a motion to approve?
I so move we approve resolution R-57-26.
Moved by Member Wilborn. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Don. We had the group in here, the owner and his agent and a few other people. Mark Jones were in here, and we had this discussion, and now this is a holding tank, so that he has a restroom facility for the front building where they're doing fabrication work. The county looked at this and kind of gave their sign off on it, and I believe they have the sizes and things correctly. So this would be approving a holding tank for the front building of the Gervasi property. Anything else to add on that, Tim?
No, just that the board back on May 9th, 2023, believe originally approved, actually it was at the May 15th, 2023 meeting, approved the resolution just with one condition, and that was to have the applicant submit for a 5-year renewal on the permit. So I had incorporated that condition, which is number 4 in the attached resolution.
Thank you, thank you. Okay. Any questions on this?
I have one question, Paul. Is it ever going to be feasible somehow for that area to get city sewer?
Not city sewer, but MMSD's looking to route that one of their interceptors a little closer. It just happens to be about 10, I believe 10, 15 years out. So the timing just doesn't work right now with what Gervasi wants for the property.
Gervasi's age.
Yeah, right. He's up there.
Bill, you had something?
Yeah, I went back and I looked at Resolution R120-23 from May of 23, so almost 3 years ago, and the referral sheet starts out the same way as this resolution. The septic system has failed. What have they been doing for the last 3 years without a septic system?
The septic system they got his father back.
Yeah, and actually that we should probably correct, because they're not replacing the existing septic system. That this is a new holding tank. So this is for the building on the east side of the property. I think that might have been something we discussed too previously, and that's one of the reasons it got held up, is the confusion with the original application and whether this was a replacement or a brand new holding tank. So that's something that actually in the resolution, the first whereas clause, we should probably amend that to state that it's a new holding tank and remove the septic system has failed.
Bill, would you like to offer that?
Yeah, I'm just going to pull up the resolution and read it again.
Same here.
But I guess my question kind of stands. What's been going on the last 3 years? Because they were on the septic system. They don't currently have a holding tank, right?
There is a holding tank.
Oh, there is?
So there's, yes, there is, here, let
The
me,
back building.
It's towards the back
Okay.
of the property.
so there's currently a holding tank system for the west building on the property, and then there's a suspected in-ground conventional system for the house on the property. So that was per the letter from Dane County. The second paragraph stated that. And then the east building, they're looking to install a new holding tank.
So is the holding tank at all related to the septic system?
This holding tank or the other holding tank?
The one we're talking about for this resolution?
They would not be connected. So
Okay.
what a holding tank is it's from the building, the sink, the water from a sink, toilet would go down the drain, and then
Into
the
the
pipe
holding
would
tank.
take it to the holding tank. It would be held there, and then it would have to get pumped out. I believe their calculation was they had assumed 150 gallons per day.
Yeah.
And this was like a 3,000 gallon holding tank? I think in
3,000
23
gallon
it was a
holding tank.
5,000 they were proposing.
We approved years ago, remember that one father outside the road because they couldn't get in there, so they had to just take a holding tank because there's separate. So we approved that too. That's still.
So I guess
The original application back in 2023 was for 5,000. They reduced that down to 3,000 gallons. They're now proposing.
Okay.
But is this holding tank a replacement for the failed septic tank, or is it?
No, it's
Okay.
brand new. So that the east building has nothing right now.
Okay. So I will move to amend the resolution to just strike the first whereas clause, because it's immaterial, by saying that the septic system has failed.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could strike the first whereas clause.
How about you leave it, whereas 2619 Sain Road, soil conditions are not suitable Oh, no, yeah, we should, we should strike it. Yeah, strike, I would. So Alder Jetzer has moved, we strike the first whereas clause. Do we have a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Okay, any questions on it? So we'll call the vote on this amendment.
Wait, one
Go ahead, Bill.
final question. I'm thinking to the future here. The existing house has a septic that's going to fail at some time. Do they get another holding tank, or do they connect to one of these other existing ones?
Most likely a new holding tank, just because these two aren't sized to accommodate that other building.
Okay.
So we have a motion to delete this whereas clause. Do we have a second to that amended motion here?
Second it.
Second, okay. Questions? I'll call the vote on the amendment. To remove the whereas clause. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next, back to the our amended resolution R5726. Any other discussion? Okay.
Is the rest of the resolution is accurate? The buildings to be serviced were built in the 50s and 60s?
Correct.
And
Built in the family swamp. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Then we'll call the vote. Give me one sec here on my computer here. All in favor of amended resolution R5726 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Give me a second to go back up to the top here. So next, I will entertain a motion to defer resolution R6326 to a date future uncertain.
I move we postpone resolution R6326 to date uncertain.
We have a second.
Second.
Second by Don. As Tim indicated to me, the Village of Oregon has not ironed out all their details yet, and when they do, they'll get back to us, and this will come forward again. Okay. So any questions? And I'll call the vote. All in favor of deferring resolution R6326 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
It is deferred. Next, resolution 5 Foxtrot. R6125, approving agreement for subdivision improvements in the plat of 5th addition to Terra Vesa. Have a motion to approve.
I'll move we approve resolution R6126.
I'll second it.
Moved by Alder Jetzer, second by member Wilborn. Tim, Dave Wilborn was asking, is this the last? Is this the...
This is the last edition. However, there's two phases to
Okay.
the last edition. So there's a phase 1 and a phase 2. But
All right.
5th edition will be the last of Terra Vesa.
Okay. Anything special about this subdivision improvement agreement?
Now, this has been the standard agreement for Terra Vesa, and nothing new.
Okay. Bill, Don, any questions on this one?
Any earth-shattering things you learned from the other editions that would cause you to hesitate on this or change something?
None.
Okay.
All right. Anything? All right, and I'll call the vote. All in favor of resolution R6126 signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Down to announcements. Our next Board of Public Works meeting is Monday, April 6th at 5:30. If you can't make it, please let me know. The 6th, I think I'm sure I'm here.
I should be there.
Okay. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move we adjourn.
Moved by Dave Wilborn. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Don. All in favor of adjournment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned at 6:19. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate your participation.